Now let's deal with the U.S. House of Representatives.
Sure.
All right, Rick, again, this is the Cook Political Report. The entire House of Representatives is up for re-election. At the current time, Republicans have a very narrow lead in the House of Representatives. And this is the breakdown of the seats. On the Democrat side, you have 174 seats. Cook is saying is solid Democrat. You got 17 seats that's leaning Democrat, got 11 seats that's slightly leaning Democrat, 27 seats that's toss-up. Now on the Republican side, you have 192 seats that are solid, 9 that are Republican. You got 5 that are leaning Republican, and then again, you have that 27 that are toss-up. 218 is the magic number. That's what you need to control the House of Representatives. Now let's go down to the competitive races. Excuse me. All right, in the competitive races, likely Democrat, you got 16 that are Democrat, 1 that is a Republican seat. Lean Democrat, you have 10 that are leaning Democrat. You have 1 Republican seat that is now leaning Democrat. Toss-ups, you have 12 Democrat seats. Republican toss-ups, you have 15 seats. Lean Republican, 5 seats. Likely Republican, 9 seats. Now that's the breakdown here. Past that, past the ends, you got the solid Democrats, what we say they were 100 and what let me go back to that.
Now, why don't we go back up to the first one and let me just, if you look at this, let's just look at the solid Republican and the likely Republican. That's 100. That's 201. That means the Republicans, to get to 218, need to pick up 17 of the, 17 of the remaining 43 seats. 43 seats are between lean Democrat, toss-up, or lean Republican. So they need to get 17 of those to have a majority. The Democrats need to get more. It is but that's how you have to think of this. If the Republicans break even on the leans and the toss-ups, the Republicans will have 13, 6 plus 19, 23. So they'll pick up 24. And if they pick up 23, 24, they will have the 6-vote majority that they had last time. And you'll remember that 6-vote majority was absolutely ungovernable. So hopefully, if there's a president and a Republican House with a 6-vote majority, it will be more governable. But that's what we're looking at.
Let's go down to the competitive races now.
Sure.
And what we got here, again, I give you the breakdown. 9 are likely Republican, 5 are leaning Republican. Again, you got the toss-ups, 15 Republicans, 12 Democrats. I'm saying that the Democrats, looking at this, Rick, could actually pick up 2 seats from the Republicans. How do you see that? Or does any of these races, looking at any of these races, do any of them bring your attention?
Let me tell you, there's a couple of things that stick out. First of all, you have 2 Arizona seats. You have a major fight going on in Arizona. If Trump wins Arizona, you're going to likely hold those 2 seats. In California, you have 5 seats. Control of the House of Representatives runs through California, which is Nancy Pelosi's home state. And and when you look at these seats, I know a lot about each of them because I'm from California. The David Valadao seat, California 22, where my wife grew up. It's a farm community, but it's now it's been a toss-up over the last 3 election cycles, where it's literally in recount every year. California has a squirrely mail-in ballot situation where they send ballots out to everybody, and you've got a lot of live ballots floating around that are just waiting to be used by people who shouldn't have them. That's the problem with the whole California system. I'm going to also include over on the lean Democrats. You have California 47, which is Orange County. You have California 45, which is Orange County. Those 2 districts, 47 used to be San Clemente, where the Nixon White House was. The Steele district is Huntington Beach. So you've got the coast of Orange County. That's 2 seats in that coast of Orange County. As a kid, I spent a lot of time there, at the beach in Huntington Beach. So it's my familiarity.
Ken Calvert got that blonde hair.
It used to be red, but I've got the skin cancer to prove it. Let's put it that way.
All right.
But Ken Calvert represents where I grew up. His district's been moved a little bit east because remember they had redistricting and kinds of things. But he faced a very tough race last time, and he's been there a long time. And sometimes when somebody's been there a long time, he would get tired of them. And it's my hope that Ken has one more 2-year term in him before he lets go for somebody younger. Garcia won a seat that the Democrats had picked up. It's a seat that, if you remember, the Rodney King trial was in Simi Valley, it's a bedroom community for where a lot of cops, former cops lived. That's the heart of the Garcia seat, California 27, along with something called the Antelope Valley, which is the most rural part of LA County. So the Garcia seat is always tough, but he's a former Air Force. He's an Air Force vet, and he's managed to stand up and hold that seat. The critical piece here, in my mind, is can the Republicans flip 47, which is Katie Porter's seat? Can they flip that seat? Because that's San Clemente, Irvine, down to San Diego County.
As you said, that's Orange County, Rick?
That's Orange County.
Which used to be a Republican stronghold, wasn't it?
Yeah, it used to be a Republican stronghold. My dad lives there. I've spent a lot of time there in the last month or two. And I will tell you, it's not. Okay? It's just not anymore. That doesn't mean you can't win. It means that you just can't depend. You can't just throw anybody up there.
On it, right?
So, but the Porter seat is doable. They've got a really good Republicans have a really good candidate who Katie Porter barely beat 2 years ago, and it all depends on whether or not how Trump does in suburban and the bedroom community of Orange County.
Do you think maybe that's why he was out in California last week doing a rally?
Yep, it's also why he was in New York, in Nassau County in New York, and why he's having a big rally in Madison Square Garden, because that's about the House of Representatives also. Because you'll note that when you look at New York, you scroll down, you have, and over on the lean Democrat, you've got 2 seats that are lean Democrat that are held by Democrat incumbents, and you've got D'Esposito in the Republican toss-up. You have Lawler in the Republican toss-up. There's a couple of others that I think is that it for them, or are there more?
Also got this New York 22, the Williams,
right? You got
that's leaning Democrat.
You got 18 and 22, Ryan and Williams, who are Democrats. On the Republican toss-up, though, if you scroll down a little bit, Rick, I think you'll see a couple more Republican toss-ups. Now, Molinaro, 5 potential flips in New York City or in New York. Most of them are located in or around the city, and so it's a brutal fight in places like Staten Island, which that congressman's viewed to be safe. But you've got Nassau County, you have places that is up all of Long Island, which are traditional Republican strongholds that they're trying to hold. The Lawler seat was one that the Republicans spent about $6 million on to win 2 years ago. And the seat isn't any better. It's still a seat that you'll look at anytime the Republicans holding it, and they'll say, I don't know if this guy can win. Ironically, the thing that is helping the Republicans in New York is the prosecution of Donald Trump by New York City. It's created this real sense of persecution, and people who don't live in New York City don't like New York City. It's the city against everybody else. And so when the city decided to use their political power to try to put Donald Trump in jail, the rest of the state is not, as in terms of the people don't think a lot about politics, is saying we don't like that, and that's helping the Republicans in New York State. As ironic as it may seem, the control of the House may run through California and New York. And truthfully, the Republicans would not have won the House if not for picking up seats in New York this past time. Now, I'll look at we've got the New Jersey seat. Tom Keene Jr. is a historically supported family in New Jersey, representing the northwest part of the state.
Right.
Very moderate. When I was lobbying in New Jersey, his dad, I had to fly down to Houston at the convention to meet with his dad because he was attacking the NRA down there. I had to go down there and have a talk with him. So it's a kind of a long-held thing. Zinke, I don't know how Zinke could be in trouble in Montana. Tester's going to get creamed. Zinke's going to win.
I have Zinke in leaning Republican. We have both Keene Jr. and, as you say, Keene. The name Keene is an institution is in the state of New Jersey, going back to his father Tom Keene, who was a governor here, two-term governor in the state of New Jersey.
When I lobbied New Jersey, he was the governor. So it was I developed a colorful relationship with him. The other ones, you look at the 2 Iowa seats. In 2020, the Republicans took all 4 congressional districts in Iowa. They held them in 2022. One of those seats we won by 6 votes. So so you can't take those for granted. But Trump will run really strong in Iowa, and I don't think Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have given Iowans any reason to vote for them. Those are ones I think the Republicans will hold. I didn't talk about Duarte because he represents a district that's really changing a lot. It's a lot of the Silicon Valley people can't afford to live there, so they've moved out into the hills of Nevadas in Northern California. And what used to be extreme conservative territory is now a mixed bag. So that's one that's hard to call. And truthfully, the Michigan 7 and Michigan 8 that are both open. 7's open because Slotkin's the Senate Democrat Senate candidate. Kildee was his father held the seat before him, and then he held it. So there hasn't been anybody but not named Kildee who's held that seat for decades. And there's going to be a real war because Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, really proven to be quite a formidable political leader in that state. And we might win those, but it'll be because of Donald Trump, who many of the Michigan Republican leaders don't like at all. But it'll be because Donald Trump dragged the Republicans across the line kicking and screaming.
Hey, Rick, we got to go to a break in a minute or two. So let's summarize.
The summary is simple. These races are in these categories because the polls show they're very close. This is a matter of voter turnout. In those states that are considered swing states, that's going to be happening automatically. We're going to win or lose control the House in the states like New York and California, where there isn't a massive presidential fight. And we're going to win it on the ground there based upon the ability to raise money and the ability of the local activists to be able to carry the ball and take what momentum Donald Trump gives them in some of these districts and translate it down ballot for them. That's what's going to make a difference. Traditionally, when presidents win, they carry seats. I would be surprised if Donald Trump doesn't end up with a 15-vote majority in the House, because if he wins, and as you've undoubtedly talked about before, if the overall number of voters, if he's within 1% of Kamala Harris on the national vote, that means that he's going to win a lot of those toss-up seats, because the Democrats have about a 20-point advantage in California alone. And that is going to make a difference in terms of and the individual seats, how that breaks down. So I think if Donald Trump wins the way I think he will, I think he ends up picking up 10 seats and the Republicans have a 15-vote majority.
That'd be great. Hey, Rick, let's go to a break because we do have a couple of great guests that will be joining us. Grover Norquist from Americans for Tax Reform, and also George Parry, who's a contributor to the American Spectator. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. My special guest host today is Rick Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our guests right after this break. And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with the Ricks today. Rick Trader, of course, and my special guest co-host is Rick Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government.